Hello everybody and welcome to Parks Bros. It's Drew here, and today I have some very unfortunate news coming from the OC Register, and that's the fact that Superman Escape from Krypton is officially permanently closed. Before we dive into this article, I do want to apologize for my voice. I've been sick for the past couple days, but an article was posted on the Orange County Register this morning at 8:55 local time, and it features some statements from the park president, Jeff Harris, all about the future of Superman Escape from Krypton, as well as Lex Luthor Drop of Doom, which, if you don't know, Superman Escape from Krypton was one of the first coasters ever to hit 100 miles an hour, as the ride goes up and down a 415-foot tall spike that you can see from just about anywhere in the park. Along with seeing it, you were able to hear it from just about anywhere, as well as it is notoriously loud. And it was always a bad thing when you were standing directly underneath it and the ride went past, as it sounded like you were underneath a jet engine. But this ride originally opened in the 1990s as Superman the Escape and faced riders forward, as the track was a very neutral gray as well as the supports, but eventually towards the top of the tower you got to face off with Superman himself before heading back down the spike. Now, 2011 comes around and they re-theme and repaint the entire structure, calling it Superman Escape from Krypton, facing riders backwards, as well as painting the coaster in the iconic color scheme of Superman red, yellow, and blue. In that same year, Lex Luthor Drop of Doom ended up opening up right on the side of the main tower, becoming the tallest drop tower in the world. This added a pop of green and purple along the side of the tower as well, and arguably added an even more terrifying experience attached to the structure, as you slowly climb up to the top of that 415 feet height, and then stop at that max height for quite a long time, while you sway back and forth, especially so when the coaster runs directly next to you, also being super loud, and shaking the tower just a bit more, before dropping all the way back down to the ground again. Now, I mentioned the history of Lex Luthor a little bit because we're going to talk about it in the future, but going back to the main ride, there was a point in time in the early 2020s when instead of launching both tracks backward, they ended up flipping one track forward and one track backward. So I was able to experience both launch types, which is really, really cool to say. But during that same period of time, as well as probably the 5 years prior, it became an increasingly rare sight to see both sides operating, and eventually even one side operating whatsoever. Tower of Terror 2, its sister coaster in Australia, ended up closing down in 2019, and there was some hope that parts of that ride would be able to be used in Superman Escape from Krypton to keep the ride going for many years to come. Unfortunately, even after that ride's closure and the reopening of the park in 2021, Superman rarely operated. It was pretty commonplace to see it only operating maybe 1 or 2 times a week, and there were plenty of times where the ride would be closed for an extended period, with refurbishment listed on the website for the reason of closure. But unfortunately, it seems, as per this article, and the statements from the park president, confirm that this ride only lasted 6 years following Tower of Terror 2. As park president Jeff Harris states, just like other roller coasters within the theme park industry, there's a life cycle with these coasters. It's just reached a point in time where we need to make a wise decision on where we should really invest funds that improve the guest experience the most. It just doesn't make a lot of sense from a business perspective to put it back into Superman. That statement especially is not all too surprising, especially with the ethos that the park chain as a whole has taken on during this merger, as plenty of rides with the same potential issues have closed in abundance over the past year. High maintenance cost, as well as being potentially just past its service life, has led to plenty of rides closing, including one of the coasters that beat Superman out for the speed and height record, King Ka. And to be completely frank, this type of statement about this ride isn't a surprise whatsoever. We've known for a very long time that Superman is one of the hardest rides to maintain and keep operating for extended lengths of time, and it's technically been operating for nearly 28 years. Now, I've made plenty of videos during this merging process talking about the consolidation of funds as well as lowering maintenance costs to put those costs towards improving the parks overall. But unfortunately, much as I predicted way back when the merger was first announced, this has led to plenty of cuts that are going to hurt the parks directly in the immediate future. Now, what happens in the far future is yet to be seen, and there are a lot of new attractions opening for the 2026 season, including some incredible roller coasters like one that we're going to see at Six Flags Magic Mountain, but it truly does suck that a lot of these icons of parks and of roller coasters in general have ended up closing and changing the skylines of their parks forever. Now, I would like to say that these sacrifices as park goers will be worth it down the line, but at least as of right now, I can't say that it feels that way. We have been promised a lot of world-class attractions as well as first-of-its-kind attractions for 2026, but we still don't completely know what we're getting into, and whether we'll see that amount of investment going forward year after year. Something alluding to that future, though, that I think is quite an interesting statement, again coming from the park president, is that he said it's too early to disclose what we're going to do with the actual track, cars, queue, building structure, and everything else that comes with the attraction. That's yet to be determined, but we're working through what that potentially could look like for the future. This is something I briefly touched on my original Superman Escape from Krypton rumors video, but is it possible we see a reworking of this structure with a different type of coaster? I mean, there was that survey from many years ago that showed the structure having a brand new type of launch coaster that just looked absurd, let's be real. But I will say it is a very interesting addition to the statements made, because the park truly doesn't know what they're going to do with the attraction yet, outside of labeling it officially closed. So we'll probably see this tower standing for quite a long time, and that's because Drop of Doom will be staying open going forward, and it will officially reopen in April following a refurbishment period, but the ride structure itself for Superman Escape from Krypton seems to be standing but not operating for the near future. And to be completely honest, it wouldn't shock me that this ride structure will remain up for even another 3, 4, possibly even 5 years. And if they want to keep Drop of Doom operating for as long as they can, they're going to have to keep at least that tower there for a long time. Talking about that 2026 roller coaster real quick, construction-wise, it is still in that groundwork phase where they're just trying to make sure everything is settled properly so they can eventually start digging holes and then adding in concrete, rebar, and all the things you need to have a proper foundation for a roller coaster. But it's technically official now that that ride is going to be the 20th roller coaster at Six Flags Magic Mountain, which technically I believe it's the 3rd roller coaster to achieve that title, as West Coast Racers was originally going to be the 20th roller coaster at the park, and then Green Lantern closed, and then Wonder Woman Flight of Courage officially opened, and now Superman is officially closing. So all I can hope is that we don't end up seeing our 4th 20th roller coaster in the next coming years, as it'd be a real bummer to see something like Viper, Ninja, X2, or even Batman or Riddler's Revenge, all aging rides, end up going the wayside while having another coaster slated for opening. Hopefully we can hit that amazing 21st roller coaster mark before anything else has to close. But with all that said, I would love to hear some memories you have from Superman Escape from Krypton. Let me know what your first ride experience was like, or your favorite part of the ride was down in the comments below. I would love to be able to hear your stories. You can see pretty much all of mine in my Six Flags Magic Mountain vlog series, with the exception of the first time I was at the park, where I completely chickened out because it was too fast and too tall. So instead, I went and rode Riddler's Revenge. Yeah, I don't know what my logic was there, but I'm very happy to say I at least got to ride on both the tracks and going forwards and backwards, and actually my last ride officially was forward facing, so I'm at least very happy to say I was able to experience that. But with all that said, I wanted to say thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and if you haven't subscribed yet, we're going to be covering all of this merger news and so much more in the future. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. I would really appreciate that as well. But of course, until next time, we'll see you on the next ride.
Me and my coaster riding banana. Whoa!